Now, if you were raised in the 80s and the 90s, you might remember doing things like writing a pen pal when you were in 5th grade to your friend who lived, that you didn't know, lived across the country or the world.
That's right.
And you had this really cool back and forth of writing to your friend.
Some might have called it correspondence.
Correspondence, yes, working on some correspondence. And so given, the artists that we love are often incredibly busy.
Yeah, and we know y'all are working hard and trying to get these projects completed for the music and the bands we love.
Absolutely.
But to find an opportunity to work with your schedule and our schedule, this concept of a pen pal style episode came about. This is a Dear Best of the Tour episode featuring Bioworks, the artist also known as Mr. Ben Kwok.
Time for another episode of Best of the Tour. This is the show that takes you behind the scenes of your favorite gig posters, tour merch, and the artists who bring it all to life. Let's start the show.
This is episode number 7 of the Best of the Tour podcast.
Yes, so this is a really cool opportunity for us to connect with artists.
In a little different way, a little different format.
Different format that is nostalgic, right?
And so our first one.
Which is amazing.
Right. I mean, Erica and I are kind of beside ourselves to have an opportunity to correspond with Ben Kwok of Bioworks.
Yes.
If you're in the poster game at all, you've got to know Bioworks. You've probably seen them. Some of our favorite bands, like the Dave Matthews Band, he's done a lot of pieces for.
And Goose.
And Goose.
And a lot of other incredible bands that I'm sure if you are listening to this podcast, you are familiar with Ben and his work. And just like a quick background, for some reason you are living under a rock and are not familiar with Ben Kwok and his work. But Ben, aka Bioworks, is actually originally from Taipei, Taiwan, moved to the USA when he was a kid, and his world was inspired by PBS nature shows and Nova documentaries and National Geographic. And so if you're familiar with Ben's artistry, a lot of it is inspired by nature.
Yeah, and it really is this amazing sort of amalgamation of nature and these sort of mechanical, artistic style that Ben has developed and crafted and honed over the years. It's one of those pieces that when you see a Bioworks piece, when you see something by Ben, whether it is, a toucan in a tree or Magical Floating Islands with a Dragon or Alice in Wonderland tribute, there is that Bioworks style that's applied that just makes it so unique, so visually impactful, and just really so special.
Yes. And Ben really loves to use preferred mediums like ballpoint pens, felt tip pens, ink, colored pencils, but he does color his imagery primarily digitally. And it's just, Mike and I are very, very lucky to have a pretty big portion of the collection by Bioworks. And so this is really, really cool. So to let you know how our kind of rereading of this pen pal letter is going to be, Mike and I will share a question and then we'll have an answer that Ben has sent us.
Yeah, and we're going to try to alternate so that you don't get tired of hearing my voice for everything or vice versa. But really, thank you in advance to Ben Kwok, Bioworks, for taking the time and sitting down and answering some of these questions to really kind of give the fans a little bit of a view behind the scenes into your process.
Yes.
And if you're a fan of Bioworks already, you already know. But Erica, if they need to find Ben Kwok or Bioworks Studio, do you want to just go ahead and give us the social or the website right now?
Absolutely. If you want to go and see, first of all, what Ben has in his shop, which I'm going to tell you, there's not much because people love Ben's work.
It goes fast, but I will also say there's different mediums. So if you like the posters and the prints, those are there. Ben's also notorious for doing things like awesome enamel pins, of which we own quite a few.
Absolutely. So head on over to Bioworks, BIOWORKZ.com. And also on Instagram, it's the same handle at Bioworks with a Z. So absolutely, if you aren't already following, check out the work that Ben does. And hopefully we inspire you maybe to go search for a new piece of art from Ben, or next time he drops an incredible poster to show you're at, to go to the merch booth.
That's right. And if you're a band or affiliated with a band in the industry and you haven't already, we hope you're able to get Ben into your rotation, because his work is just some of the most legendary in the industry.
Absolutely. So to kick us off, I am actually going to start reading from the pen pal style letter that we wrote to Ben. It's so cool. I don't know. I just kind of geeking out about this whole thing. So, dear Ben, aka Bioworks, huge fans over here, and what a thrill to be able to connect in this nostalgic way. Let's think about how, as kids, you had a pen pal, and we're going to try to recreate that mailbox magic. So we'd love to peel back the curtain, share with our listeners some Q&A style chatter over some ink and paper, actually email, really. And we're going to start kicking off the questions around the style, Ben's style. So here's the question we posed to Ben. We have a lot of your pieces, specifically for the Dave Matthews Band, and are amazed at the intricacy and the crazy details that you achieve on each print. There's a magical flow to your art. Do you plan everything out, or do you let the design flow and see where you end up?
And Ben was kind enough to respond, and I'm just going to read it in my voice, but this is me imagining Ben responding actually from his response. First of all, thank you for this opportunity. It really depends on the animal I'm focusing on. Usually my drawings are to elaborate on the existing form of the animal, and then I would add ornate patterns to complement the shape of the animal. Birds in particular suit my style very well because the feathers are already broken up into individual shapes that I can use to add my own ornate patterns. I generally let the design flow and see where it takes me. I know some artists create thumbnail sketches and then kind of go from there, but that's not what I do. I just create one sketch and hope it's approved by gig poster management. For personal artwork, it's much more free-flowing because I don't necessarily need approval from anyone other than myself.
And I think about our own personal collection of Ben's work, and I do think about how many are aviary animals. And those are, I mean, the one that really stands out to me is the Dave Matthews Dodo.
This is part of a song series the Dave Matthews Band did that Eric is referencing. It's referencing Dave Matthews' solo effort, which is called Some Devil, and the lead track on that is called Dodo. And so when Ben produced a piece for that song series, he imagined this phenomenal bird, right? That I don't know that anybody sits around spending time looking at the dodo bird that's now extinct, right? But Ben took it to another level, and that's one of my favorite pieces of Ben's as well.
Yeah, so just if you're going to look for something, go check out the Bioworks Ben Kwok Dodo piece. There were multiple colorways on different colors of paper. It's become kind of one of those grail collectibles for people to try to catch them all, so to speak.
That's right.
So, but anyways,
let's move on to the second question with Ben. And we wrote to Bioworks, what's your preferred medium for creating art and why?
Yes. Ben's response, I love drawing with pen and ink, because it's what I'm most comfortable with and have the most practice. I've been drawing with pens ever since I was a kid. I also like having a tangible piece of artwork now that we're in the digital age. I would always imagine if there was some kind of electromagnetic pulse that destroys all digital media, and I want something that I can hold in my hands, something that exists outside of a hard drive. Yeah,
I think that's really beautiful in the way that he conveyed that. And I get that non-digital sort of analog approach is something that, he probably syncs up with, especially given that the subject of his artwork is so frequently based in nature, animals or other elements of nature. I think, again, of another Dave Matthews Band piece that we have that we call the Dreaming Tree, where Ben sort of applied his Bioworks magic to this Florida almost banyan tree Everglades look that also took the shape of the fire dancer, a trope of the Dave Matthews Band. And so I think when you want to be that in touch with nature, whether it's the animals or the plant life or whatever it might be, that sort of analog nature makes a lot of sense to me, as opposed to going digital, which is really cool.
And I think that there's a different energy that us on the receiving end as the collector, the person who receives it, just feels a little bit different, you know? And I think there is that grounding style of, like I said, putting pen to paper and then how that then results out on the poster. I know it's printed and I know it's a digital image and things of that nature, but I feel like there is a different energy to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
If you're like me and Erica, you love passing out stickers while attending concerts with friends, making new friends. Where do you get these stickers? Look no further than stickerrobot.com. They are renowned for the highest quality sticker printing on the planet, world famous, custom, outdoor silkscreen sticker printing, free US shipping, and we have a promo for you if you visit stickerrobot.com/invisible. You will receive 10% off your next high quality screen printed sticker order. So act fast.
Going right now.
Right now.
Right now. And also, thanks to our friends over at the Rock Poster Society. If you don't know TRPS, they are a nonprofit behind the world's longest running rock poster collection shows. That includes the Festival of Rock Posters in San Francisco, which is a bucket list thing for Mike and I to
Absolutely.
go to. But they have been championing the art of poster for decades. They support both the artists and those people who collect them and preserve them. If you want to get involved, go over to trps.org if you want to become a member and check out their upcoming events.
Check them out.
Well, our next question, speaking of, our question to Ben was, your work has a lot of animal imagery and patterns. And what keeps you coming back to that topic? How do you keep each print fresh and unique?
Right. Keep them fresh and unique. And Ben, again, was kind enough to respond. Keeping it unique is tough. My style can be easily summed up as an animal with ornate patterns. It helps to use different animals, but I feel like I need to step out of the box to make it fresh. Using different patterns helps. Adding wings on a jaguar, for example, is my way of changing things up and making it look fresh. You can even say I've added wings to lots of animals, but that's what feels most fun and coolest to me.
Yeah, that's really, I mean, first of all,
who doesn't want wings on their jaguar? That's amazing, right?
Yeah, I think of it from, the fantasy books that I like to read.
Exactly. Well, and I mean, whether creatures of lore, right, truly existed before. I mean, you could just call it, say, a dragon, right? Did dragons really exist? Maybe yes, maybe no. If not, somebody at some point imagined a large lizard-like scaled reptilian creature that has wings and flies around, and it's been part of, cultures for tens of thousands of years.
Yeah. Yes. That's very cool.
So moving on to the next question that we had for Ben. You recently did a collaboration piece with Todd Slater for the Dave Matthews Band set of shows at Fiddler's Green in Colorado. That was really unique, and as a collector, we were blown away, but specifically by how the two of you managed to blend your styles, yet completely stand out and make something that was unique. How was that process of collaboration, and what was the biggest challenge? What did you enjoy most about that collaborative process?
Yeah.
And then Ben responded.
Ben responds, working with Todd Slater has always been easy. He's on top of his game, and he never lags on getting artwork done. The DMB management asked if I was interested in doing a collab with an artist, and Slater came to mind immediately because we both focus on animals, and we both have detailed designs. I had already collaborated with Slater a couple times, so I knew what I was getting into. And the design itself was challenging because we had to constantly email each other back and forth to make sure things lined up and that we were on the same page. But aside from that, it was a pleasure to work on that piece with Todd, and especially for the DMB fans. Now, we are lucky.
Yes, we have to give a shout out here to a friend of ours.
Yeah, one of our OG poster buddies, John. And John was living in Colorado at the time, attended those shows. And, when we saw this image first come out, first we didn't realize it was a diptych. We didn't realize there were going to be two.
Right. There were back-to-back Dave Matthews Band shows at Fiddler's Green Amphitheater in Colorado, which those of you may not know, that's sort of the Denver area, sort of larger amphitheater style. It's a great venue. Erica and I have recently been there for a couple of Goose shows, but this year, I think it was 24 when these came out, we were not able to make the DMB shows.
Yeah.
We had our good friend John who was there and was able to snag us a foil from each night.
And these two images are just stunning.
Yes.
One of them is an image of a the bear with the baby cub bears.
Right. So sort of a mama bear and baby bears.
And then the night 2, I think, was a wolf.
Right. That's
and
right.
then wolf cubs.
Yeah.
And they were done in a way that, again, as we had asked this question, how do they blend the styles but completely stand out? These 2 images, you've got the biomechanical style almost like split down half. It was like Ben took one side and Todd took another side.
Yeah.
But there's this unbelievable push-pull but yet flow between sort of this more flowy water style, I think, that Todd has, this very like wavy kind of water style, and Ben's, again, biomechanical, more
super ornate
and geometric styles to those fur and like the way that the waves were. It just was so cool. It's one of our top pieces that we've got.
I love the way that they complemented each other. There's some ways you can look at it and say, I can pick out the pieces that Ben did. I can pick out the pieces that Todd did, but they also have this sort of synergy and this sort of symbiotic relationship in that piece that's so cool.
And when you put them side by side, the backgrounds merge together, which is so cool. I mean, you've got the mountains in the background and this beautiful kind of almost like waves that tie the 2 together.
Yeah.
Stunning.
And we love how that feels, and that kind of blends, I think, into the next question we had for Ben.
Yes. And so the question that we asked Ben was, what do you hope the collector feels when they see your artwork?
And Ben's response was, I want the collector to feel like they really got their money's worth. I want them to know I put my heart and soul into every piece, and I can only hope it's appreciated. It's particularly satisfying when I see people frame my artwork. It means they love it. It will be hung on their walls. It doesn't really get better than that. I also want the collector to be mesmerized by the artwork. When they look at it over time, they'll see new details they didn't notice before.
Wow. And we're those people that put up Ben's work all over our walls.
We are. And I think it's Ben, it extends out to the artist community at large. And, for all of y'all to know, from us, the fans, the collectors, from the listeners of this podcast, we absolutely appreciate that extra effort and energy that y'all pour into the work. It really, for me, that's the soul of the piece. We've had some discussion about this with artists and amongst ourselves in this sort of wake of turbulence from AI artwork out there. And I think what Ben says here about what he's looking to, get from the collector or deliver to the collector, that's why, to me, AI will never make any sense in this medium, right? Because so much of what we feel and experience in the joy of collecting, in that, Christmas morning feeling of not knowing who the artist is going to be when we go to the venue, I think so much what we get out of that in that moment, but then over time as we appreciate it in our walls or in our halls and on our walls, is that soul of the artist that kind of touches the piece. They pour themselves into it. They've really brought this focus, this energy to it. And to hear Ben talk about it, it resonates with me because that's what we feel. So from us at the podcast, Ben, thank you. You're super appreciated. We love those Easter eggs, those little details, uncovering them almost like a detective as we go through the piece the first time, but then over time as it hangs on our wall, to be able to go back and say, oh, I didn't notice that before. Or maybe it just appeals to me a little bit different given my, point in my life.
Absolutely.
Well, the next question we had for Ben was one to really kind of, I think, ask, how does he stay inspired and things? But here was the question: what kinds of projects are your favorite? Gig posters or art prints or other? And he said, you want to go ahead and he said, Erica?
So Ben's answer was that he enjoyed both. There's really no favorites. For the gig posters, he says he loves it when band management gives him free rein. They trust what I do, they trust my vision, and allow me to do what I do best. Art prints are definitely fun too because it can be any subject, and he doesn't have to get final approval. However, there are times when I'm not inspired to work on an art print, so gig posters can be more fun to work on. But in short, they're both his favorites. It just depends on his mood.
Yeah, I think he touched on something there that really, for me, that free reign of the artist, and I I think I can see sort of both sides to this position. Number one, I think sometimes management, and we've heard this from other artists, might have some reservations about overdoing a certain symbol or trope or something, or they might, restrict and say, hey, we don't want any more dandelions or whatever it might be this time, or, skeletons or something. And I can kind of get that they want to keep some freshness and variety, but at the same time, I'm a big proponent of let the artist be the artist. I mean, if I had one piece of advice or whatnot to management of bands, is I understand, and you're fully justified where you're coming from, that this is a business. There's an economic piece. There's a sell through rate and things like that. And you guys want to leave at the end of the night and have sold out of the piece. I get that. I think your best bet as management for allowing a sellout of the piece is to take your hands off the wheel, let go of the vine, so to speak, let go of the pen, let the artist be the artist, because what we, the consumer, the collector, the fan, are really looking for is not necessarily more of the same, not necessarily put the artist in a box and have them repeat a previously drawn image. What we're looking for is, I think of the little kid in Incredibles, something amazing, I guess, right? We want something fresh and original from our favorite artists. We want to see them push into a boundary they haven't been in before. And so to band management, respectfully, I would counsel and advise you're going to have great success in selling your posters by letting the artist be the artist.
Be the artist.
Let them explore the space, create something that's awesome and that becomes talked about and buzzworthy, as opposed to trying to manage or corral or repeat or reproduce a prior successful image by giving maybe too much input or too much restraint.
Yeah, I mean, I think art becomes something that for us as the consumer, we read it, and I've said this before, we see the images and we then interpret them through the lens of our own experiences or current status of life, things of that nature. And I think that creativity, it breeds in an open arena, so to speak.
And look, sometimes it might not work out, right? Sometimes, an artist might create something and it doesn't resonate with, the fan base at first, but then over time it can grow, it can change, it can shift. Sometimes we as collectors need to sit with something and before it fully sinks in. I mean, I can think of pieces that I've passed on openly in the moment that I've regretted then. And what does that do to me in my framework as a consumer? Well, in the future, it makes me want to just grab it even if I'm a little bit unsure, and then, put it in the portfolio if I don't hang it right away. And, but
then
so
move it around when you're ready to
that's right.
experience what that art was meant to be.
But if it wasn't new and fresh and creative in the first place, I think you miss on that opportunity.
I got you. Well, here is a follow-up question then to basically the question about staying inspired. So our question to Ben was, what's one practical system or habit that's helped you keep your art career sustainable?
And Ben's response was, I guess having a sustainable art career comes down to my stubbornness. I refuse to have a regular 9-to-5 job because it makes me deeply depressed not having much flexibility with my creativity and my own time. Not saying all 9-to-5s are terrible, I just know myself enough to know it makes me unhappy. I was in the apparel business for over 10 years, and there are some highlights, but generally I was creating artwork I didn't care about, and it slowly ate away at my soul. I'm bringing this up because no matter how bad things get, I would remind myself it's not a 9-to-5, and it gets me going and remaining productive. To better answer your question, never stop creating. Never stop sharing your artwork, and most importantly, be stubborn and refuse to quit. Those are powerful words.
Really powerful, encouraging words.
Yeah, words of wisdom from Ben Kwok. I think some of our listeners out there might be current artists, might have had some successes, might be just trying to break into the industry.
Yeah.
And I think Ben's note there to, never give up, never quit, and never stop creating might be part of that sort of recipe for success.
You've got to have that tenacity and that grit. But I think in the creative space, you have to have something that drives you.
Yes.
And sometimes it's the knowing of like where your soul gets lit up the most.
That's right.
I mean, you and I were talking about creating a podcast for our businesses. And out of that, we were like, oh, what's to hear what we do professionally? Like, that's boring. And you know what? That doesn't bring me joy. It doesn't light me up.
That's right.
But you know what? Talking about posters, talking about merch, doing deep dives on pieces of art that we absolutely love.
And interacting with these artists that to us are like heroes, you know?
Man, like that to me is like, that's the light.
Fills the soul cup.
It does fill the soul cup up. Absolutely. Well, speaking of filling soul cups up.
Let's talk a little bit here about projects, right? This was our sort of topic area on projects. And to Ben, we asked, we know you for your work in the music scene. What other projects have you been working on that are unique and bring excitement to your career?
And Ben's answer was personal artwork comes to mind. Now that the gig poster season has slowed down, he gets to work on his own artwork. And what's funny is that when I'm working on gig posters, I want to work on personal work. And now that I have time for personal work, I crave working on gig posters. I can't just simply please my own indecisive mind. And at times I'm stuck and lack inspiration. So I would tell myself to be on the hunt for an idea and allow the idea to manifest naturally. This isn't exactly the most professional way to work, but it's how I manage to get excited and inspired. And it could be reading from a book, looking at other artwork, or simply keeping my mind open to other random ideas.
Yeah, I think here what comes to mind when I read this from Ben, and again, I'm still so blown away that he took the time to pen pal with us. So again, shout out, thank you, Ben. Really appreciate it. But the thing that comes to mind here as, you know, a poster collector, as a fan of music and all of the things that surround it at the merch booth, right, is that take some time to pause and think of your favorite artists during this sort of off season. Concerts, right? Music, gig posters, there is a seasonality to it. We know the summers are a busy time. Season. Leading into summer, a lot of projects are being done, but they're just like anything else, there's an off season. And so to my mind, it comes, what else can we do as fans of these wonderful artists out there? Whether it's, you know, Bioworks, whether it's, you know, Monk One, whoever it might be. And I think of like the holidays are upon us, right? And you can go out to your local big box store and try to find your cousin or your sibling or your friend or your coworker, you know, some type of like generic type present, and I guess that's fine. But if you're passionate about artwork, if you're passionate about these artists, the gig posters, hey, think about going to their websites and maybe, you know, keeping shopping small, right? And support the community that you are a part of, that we are a part of, because every dollar that helps support that artist is going to help them weather that off season and make them more able to create when it's on season again. So, you know, I know for my holiday shopping and things, I'll be looking at some of our favorite creators' websites, seeing where I can find something to send to friends and family.
Absolutely.
And hey, they don't necessarily need to be a quote Ben Kwok or Bioworks fan. This might be your opportunity as their friend, as their family member, to introduce them to this scene that you're passionate about and share that passion and joy during the holidays, which to me is a fulfilling sort of mission in gift giving.
Well, and Ben's work specifically, I mean, if you're an animal lover,
yes,
there is something for everyone, whether you are a dog lover, or
an elephant lover,
or a dolphin, or a wolf, or maybe Godzilla. I mean, you know, he's still an animal out there.
Yeah.
But I absolutely love that idea. You know, when you're thinking about where you want to spend your hard-earned dollars, like giving back to the art community by purchasing artwork directly from them, whether it's a timed edition or there are some original pen and ink pieces that Ben has on his site, and oh my god,
you want to talk about the collectible, right? The level of collectability to some of these things that was produced by the artist, and again, harkening back to those I think really profound and sincere words of Ben, that that pen and ink work that he does, it really comes from the soul.
It does.
You know, it's not just a you know, something that he's kind of hashed out to create something quickly. It's him pouring a little bit of his soul into that paper. And so, yeah, what a cool idea for your friend or your loved one that might like animals, might like artwork, might need something new for their desk or their office. So
Absolutely.
I think there's opportunity there.
Absolutely. And so in that questioning kind of pathway, we asked Ben, is there anything on the horizon that you can share with us and the listeners?
Yeah, and he said, nothing I can go into detail about, but I will have more art prints and a collab with a well-established artist. Hopefully more gig posters in the near future. So I think, we fully understand here that artists, and we never would ask anybody to divulge anything that's subject to any type of secrecy or anything. And so when we just really I like to pull on that thread to see if there's anything that the artist wants to highlight, maybe about an upcoming drop or whatnot.
Yeah.
And I think what Ben did here was he gave us as much of a tease as he could.
Yeah.
Which is to say that he can't give a lot of detail, but he is working on more art prints. And he's also working on a collab with a well-established artist, which just has me all kinds of excited and thinking about where that could go.
It's got the wheels in your brain moving.
That's right. And as he says, hopefully more gig posters in the near future.
Absolutely.
I mean, fans can only hope. I mean, Ben's in the, I think, top hopes for, I know certainly in DMB fans and Goose fans, I've heard a lot of chatter about, hey, always love when a Bioworks piece appears.
For sure.
The next question we had for Ben, outside of gig art, right? Those posters, the merch type stuff. What do you do to find inspiration and peace in that sort of creative process?
Yes. And Ben's answer was lately he's been playing a lot of the game Magic the Gathering. I know you're familiar with Magic the Gathering.
I'm ready to play, Ben. You just let me know. We'll set up a Zoom.
Ben says it's mentally challenging to create a competitive deck, and playing with other people has been the best part. As an artist, I'm generally alone, so having a social group to play Magic with has been healthy for my mental state. He also keeps lots of pets, so he's got places of inspiration right in his own home. He takes care of them, and he says it's been a really peaceful experience. Currently, he has 7 aquariums, 3 crested geckos, 2 bearded dragons, 1 turtle, 1 snake, and best of all, 3 dogs.
That's a menagerie. It's almost a mini zoo. But again, for somebody that's an artist inspired by the animal form, that makes total sense.
Yes.
And also the discussion about Magic the Gathering has me over the moon excited. For those that don't know, Magic the Gathering is a sort of role-playing card game that's been around since, let me try to say, 1994. 3.
That sounds about
somewhere
right.
about there. I was a high school student when those cards first came out.
Yeah.
And collected some of the originals. I mean, we're talking about what, for those who maybe know, betas, right? Betas, and then came unlimited 4th edition. I might have had an alpha here or there. Don't get excited, people. I sold them years ago thinking I wasn't going to use these again. And man, I should have held on to them because I could probably retire now with some of the value. When you talk about collectability around art pieces, some of those cards in Magic the Gathering go for $100,000 or more.
Yeah.
There's one called the Black Lotus in particular that I had. A friend swindled me out of in a trade in high school. Adam, I have not forgotten about it. But there are those memories, core memories with friends from high school playing that game. And so like Ben said, he's spending some time there, and that's a great space. Number one. Number two, I would say we've seen some of our, favorite artists who do work on Magic the Gathering. Shout out to Dan Mumford.
That's true.
Across the pond, a friend, and we're a fan of his work. And so to see some of these artists sort of move into different industry things is a really cool piece.
And I love the we're talking about like filling your soul cup up and being inspired. And then I feel like a lot of what we do nowadays is needing to connect with other humans. And so by getting together to play a game that stimulates your mind, but also gives you the experience of being with other humans, I feel like that is like more of that for
That's
sure.
Right.
And as a follow-up question, we have a couple last questions left, and then we'll wrap up this episode. So we asked Ben, what exciting opportunities are you experiencing as an artist in 2025? And what guidance would you offer to someone who's eager to begin a career in the arts?
And Ben's response was, not gonna lie, 2025 has been a challenging year for me. If you really want to make a career out of art, you have to be willing to give it your all. You must stay consistent and constantly create artwork to feed the social media algorithm. I can personally take some of my own advice. I haven't exactly been consistent, but I'm also stubborn, like I mentioned before, and I'm not willing to give up on my dream of being a full-time independent artist. Being an artist ain't easy, but if you can't imagine doing anything else, you're meant to be an artist.
We got to keep the tenacity and the persistence up. And for us on the receiving end, like, please keep at it.
Yeah, I think for Ben, for every artist out there that's going through the trials, the tribulations, the changes in the marketplace in 25 and who knows what 26 has, number one, thank you all for all you do, because it is more than just putting ink on paper, and it is more than just selling foils at a merch booth. I can tell you as fans, Erica and I walk past these pieces every day, and we like to swap them out now seasonally, move things around. But when we put them on our wall, when we walk past them, even when we flip through in our portfolio, there is some piece of nostalgia that comes back from the concert we were at where we got it, or the friends we talked with who were able to snag us when they were attending the gig. And none of those memories are bad. They are all good. They're positive. They are joy-sparking inspiration. And in the more global context of things, as 25 has been challenging in a lot of ways, and 26 might continue to be, we can always be, using more joy.
Absolutely. More joy. Hashtag bring us more joy.
And I think artists do that. Thank you all for all you do. Ben, thank you for all you do. And I think, like you said, keep being stubborn and keep creating.
Absolutely.
The next question that we asked, Ben, we find artists are incredibly supportive of their contemporaries. What is a favorite print you've seen lately that's not your own? Which is a really good question. Erica wrote these, by the way, in part, I think. And so I think that was a great question.
And that's the thing is we've really been lucky to have incredible conversations with artists. And I always hear whenever there's something that says like, who inspired you? I think of even just most recently when we talked to Luke Martin and he talked about Jim Mazza and what Jim had told him to do. And it's like, okay, that kind of sparked the question of like, this is an incredible tight-knit group of artists that do a very specific thing, and also they really pump each other up, which is just so cool.
And I think to that, let's hear what Ben's response was.
So Ben's response was, lately, I think Miles Sang has been absolutely killing it. The amount of details and the level of his work has been very inspiring. There are other great artists, of course, but Sang has really set the bar high this year. And I don't know how he consistently pumps out such high quality work, but it's definitely admirable to say the least. I can't single out any one of his pieces. They're all great.
Yeah, Ben is speaking directly to my heart here. I fully agree. So I've been in the poster collecting space now for over 16, 17 years, I guess. Is that right? So almost 20 years, which is crazy. But I started around 2007, 2008. And most of my entry point back then was with Methane Studios, and our friend Robert over there, and
Mark.
He did a lot of work, and they did a lot of work for the Dave Matthews Band back in the day, and collected a playing card series there that was one of the big kind of on points for me. Picked up pieces here and there and saw things, but one of the game changers for me in the artist community that drew me in. I mean, you talk about slippery slope of collecting and an entry point of just like, well, how far down the rabbit hole did we go? One of those artists, maybe the artist for me, was Miles Sang.
Yeah.
And he did some pieces for the Dave Matthews Band during COVID when DMB was set up to tour. Of course, COVID came, they couldn't tour, and there were these couch tours that the Dave Matthews Band would release Wednesday night.
Yeah.
And it was something to look forward to in a pretty bleak environment, to see, a Dave Matthews concert from your couch on YouTube or whatnot. And then they did some drops.
Drive-ins.
They were called drive-ins.
Yeah.
And they did some drops of posters to collaborate with those drive-ins.
To keep the artists working.
Keep the artists working.
Awesome.
Take those images and apply them. Hey, there's not a live show, but we did a drive-in.
Yeah.
And there were 2 drive-in pieces done by Miles Sang.
Yeah.
And this started an entire room of sang in our house, pieces that we have of Miles that he's done for Dave Matthews Band.
Absolutely.
But we've seen him do other work as well. Metallica,
Grateful Dead,
Billy Strings.
It's been, so
two of our favorites for our band, Goose, that we love.
Absolutely.
These Space Angels that Miles sang did.
Yes.
So fully agree with Ben that Miles is absolutely killing it.
And if artists inspire other artists, that just means that we're just going to get just crazy, incredible pieces.
That's right.
From everybody. And I just love that. It's not competition, it's camaraderie, it's drive to do more, to be better, to just add a little extra that then pushes everybody even better and better and better, which I just think is a really cool thing.
Yeah, and I love how there's this sort of mantra or mentality of the artists out there, which, it's a pretty competitive space. There's a finite number of gigs every year, right? Mm-hmm. But instead of it being sort of a, cutthroat, competitive, dark environment, a lot of the artist relationships that we've seen and attitudes toward each other are one of community, of rise up together, lift each other up, mentorship, help each other out.
Yeah.
And I think that's a beautiful thing and something, frankly, a lot of industries could probably take a note from.
Yes. And so with that, we really wanted just to say to Ben, and we wrote this in our pen pal letters, sort of an outro, was, Ben, we're always just so inspired by your artwork. We have so many beautiful pieces around our home. We just want for him to know. We want Ben, you to know how impactful your work has been in our lives and the joy that it brings us to hear. Tonight's poster is by the amazing Ben Kwok.
And I have to go ahead and read Ben's note here in response. He said, I really appreciate you collecting my artwork. It means a lot to me. I hope to deliver more quality work for you guys to enjoy. Smiley face emoji.
Yes.
So, I think Ben is one of those guys, that really is exemplary in the industry, in the work that he creates, in the interaction with fans that he has on socials, on podcasts like this. Mm-hmm. He gave us thanks for the opportunity to share his process with us. And Ben, it's really with so much gratitude that we thank you for taking time to sit down with Erica and myself here at the Best of the Tour podcast. We look forward to seeing more of your work in the future. We're rooting for you, man. Check out Ben Kwok, Bioworks online.
With a Z at the end.
Bioworks with a Z at the end. And pick up a cool new print or something for the holidays. Always a pleasure to speak with you all. And we will talk to you next time from the pod. All right, Best of the Tour listeners, it's time for the Tour Tracker.
Your guide to the shows you don't want to miss. Favorite up-and-coming artists, Sierra Farrell, is currently on tour with the incredible Mumford & Sons. Check out sierrafarrellmusic.com/tour to see all the new tour dates in partnership with Mumford & Sons, starting as early as October 22nd, Bridgestone Arena, Nashville, Tennessee, throughout the end of the year, where they do an incredible tour over in the UK. Again, sierrafarrellmusic.com/tour to go get tickets to see her.
Our friends over at Widespread Panic are currently on their fall 2025 tour. You can check it out at widespreadpanic.com and take a look at all of the shows starting October 24th and running through the end of the year, with some final shows end of December around New Year's Eve to be exact, and the 2 days before in Atlanta, Georgia at the one and only Fox Theater. They then pick up again in 2026 early on with their Panic in Playa in the Riviera Maya of Mexico, January 20th through the 23rd. Check it out.
And that's your tour tracker for this episode.
Have fun out there, and we'll see you on tour. Best of the Tour is presented by Invisible Industries. Find us at www.bestofthettour.com and on all major streaming platforms, including Spotify and Apple Music. You can also catch Erica and Mike on their other podcast, Posters in Every Direction, streaming wherever you stream your podcasts from. A big thanks for listening, and we will talk to you next time. If you're enjoying these stories and would like to keep the podcasts coming, another way you can support the show is by buying us a coffee. So please visit buymeacoffee.com/bestofthetour.
Are you looking for some ways to get inspired and make some creative magic happen? Then you need to go stock up on art supplies. Head on over to bestofthettour.com and hit our Blick affiliate link. It's the same price, supports the show. Go check it out.
Hey, if you're like us, you love supporting the independent artists who make the art for the posters we love. So if you're looking for a new poster, look no further than shop.invisibleindustries.com. You can find their print collections, including art prints, limited edition prints, remarks, original works, and much, much more.
So go on over to shop.invisibleindustries.com to go check out what they've got in store.